everybody. Coach will start us off with a brief statement, then we'll take some questions.
How's everybody doing? Good. All right. Coming off bye week, got back on the practice field yesterday. It always speeds up a little bit with the Friday game, and so adjusting to that part of it. But I thought we had a good work yesterday. Got good work over the bye week, trying to get some guys back healthy as healthy as we can absolutely get them. That was one of our major deals throughout the bye week, and so got good work in during the bye week. Got to really focus on fundamentals and techniques and doing some different things, and then trying to get healthy and allow them some time to kind of rest a little bit too, not just physically but mentally. They've been through a lot up to this point in the season, so had a good week with that. I thought they came back fresh and ready to go yesterday. Had a good week. Got a big opportunity this weekend. Got a tough opponent coming in. Cal coming in here 5-2. They're playing really well. As you look at them, the quarterback slinging it around the field. They're big up front. 21's elusive in the return game as well as a receiver. They find different ways of getting him the ball, but they do a good job with that. You look at them defensively, very difficult to throw the football against. I think they're fourth in the conference right now in pass defense. I think fifth overall in total defense. So they do a really nice job over there. So we know we've got a great test. Coach Wilcox has done a tremendous job there, and I've got a lot of respect for him and what he's done while he's been there. But looking forward to being back home, playing in front of our crowd. Everybody coming out on a Friday night. Going to be a little bit cooler, I think, from what it looks like on the weather. So bundle up a little bit. We got 25 years of Sandman that we're celebrating, as well as we got Breast Cancer Awareness Month that's starting. So we want to honor those that are fighting it right now and those that have survived it. So we got a lot of things going on this weekend. I look forward to our crowd showing up and really being that X factor for us as we get going this weekend. With that, I'll take questions.
A little more specifically, what has impressed you about that quarterback and this passing game they have?
He's young, but he does a nice job of getting the ball out of his hands. He's got a good quick release to him. Even as a left-hander, usually lefties are a little longer in their motion. He does a nice job of getting it out. He's got a lot of pop to it. Kind of gets through his progressions pretty quick. Again, as a young quarterback, I think he's got a really good handle on what they're doing. He's got good weapons around him, and we're going to have a great test in front of us, especially with all the different changes that we've had defensively. And so we got to do a good job of trying to get him off his spot and making him feel a little bit more uncomfortable.
With regards to your passing game, Thomas Williams went down. We didn't ask you about him last week. Is that looking like it's a long-term thing? That looked like it might have been more serious when it happened.
Yeah, he's just like all of our guys. He had a good week during the bye week as far as trying to get healthy, and I think he's trending the right way. We'll see how the rest of the week goes, but it's kind of a day-by-day type deal for us, and we'll keep monitoring. But I can promise you he's trying to get back.
But it wasn't like a season-ending.
No.
It looked like it had the potential to be.
Yeah, it wasn't season-ending.
I want to ask you about how did you evaluate the offense during the bye week, and are there any changes that you feel like you wanted to tinker with to help it be more efficient?
Yeah, I think more than anything, it's the consistency of it. I think we show flashes. We just haven't been consistent enough. We've run the ball at times pretty well. We've had some explosive runs. I think it helps us when we're more healthy, depending upon what guys are in the backfield, what guys are up front, what's going on within the transition of it all. From the passing game standpoint, kind of some of those same variables to it. And so we know we got to be more consistent. We got to stay balanced. And I think we've shown flashes of really good things, and then we've got areas that we got to absolutely grow in.
Yeah, because I believe Kyron had faced pressure on 107 dropbacks through 7 weeks, and you don't want a quarterback having to deal with that type of pressure. Is there anything you work with him on, maybe getting the ball out faster or protection detail to make sure he's not facing that type of pressure on a consistent basis?
Yeah, I mean, we're actually getting more pressure than anybody in the country, I think, just about right now. So some of that goes back to, some of the challenges that we've had up front with guys being injured and trying to get some guys back. Different lineup almost every week. But we've got to do a good job of, number one, protection, and we got to do a good job of getting separation in routes, and he's got to do a good job of not hanging on things too long and then continuing to grow and develop. But the one thing I know about Kyron is he is in here working every day. He is very self-aware of what's going on, and he's trying to improve just like all of us are trying to improve, me included, trying to improve every day. And so I respect that about him, how hard he works. He did some really good things the other day that I was really proud of. And, you know, as an offense, we're continuing to grow.
Have you ever crossed paths with Justin Wilcox in your career?
No, I mean, we played 2 years ago when I was at Auburn. We went there and played. That's the only time that I've really ever come across him. I've met him at a couple of different things, but it's not like we have each other's number or anything like that.
Anything about his defenses that stand out in your mind?
Yeah, you know, I think they're very physical, number one. They do a good job of switching up, you know, especially in the secondary parts of it. They give you a lot of different looks, a lot of unique things about the way they want to do things. We'll see how they're going to play us. You know, they've played certain people different ways, and so we'll see how they want to approach and how they're going to defend what we do. But the one thing about their defense, they're physical. They run to the football. They play with great effort. You know, Zero, he's a phenomenal player. I mean, in my opinion, probably their best player on defense. Plays their will linebacker. Been there for a number of years. He's fast. He's physical. Does a great job reading. He's a really good player.
You talked about the players being able to take a step back last week, kind of, you know, get their minds caught up on everything. What about the coaching staff? I mean, that was a pretty drastic change for you guys mid-season. You had to hit it on the run like that. Does this allow you to step back and maybe take a breath?
Yeah, I mean, we're trying to do that, right? But obviously, it's been a whirlwind for everybody in the program. Everybody, not just players, coaches, support staff. I mean, everybody's affected by what occurred early in the season. And so, you know, for a lot of our coaches, obviously, they're all trying to figure out what the future holds. But number one, they're staying locked in. They're pouring into these young men. I think we as a staff, we as a team, we're all in. And these guys, I think, understand that, and guys are working at that level, and coaches are working at that level. So from that standpoint, yes, it's been emotional, and it's been, you know, a lot of mental stuff going on. But at the end of the day, when we're in the building, we're focused on these guys in that locker room and trying to do what's best for them.
When you're all in like that, even with how uncertain the future is that a reason why the team has bought in and is playing with so much effort and fire on a weekly basis?
Well, you know, I think these guys, they're just welding together. And, you know, I take my hat off to them. They've been tremendous. They've been locked in together. They've played relentless. They played with a lot of energy, a lot of focus. We played for 60 minutes. Guys have stayed locked into that part of it. And we played physical. So when we do those things, it gives us a chance. And that's what we're wanting in each and every game, is the opportunity to go out there and compete and represent ourselves in this university in a really good way.
You brought up Cal's defense. Number 5, cornerback number 5, Hezekiah Massis, 4 interceptions. I believe he leads the nation in passes defended. What does he do in taking away one side of the field?
Yeah, he does a nice job. You know, especially when they put him in man coverage, he does a nice job at the point of attack. You know, they give you so many different looks in the secondary parts of it that you may think it's this thing, and then all of a sudden it turns into something else. And so you got to do a really good job of seeing what you see, trusting what you see, and then reacting to that. But he's a good player. He's got some length about him. Does a nice job in whether he's playing on top of it or in some type of trail technique, and does a nice job playing the ball in the air. So we got to know where all of those guys are, but especially where he is.
You were talking a little bit about the linebacker, Cal's linebackers earlier, number 0. What allows them, in your mind, just the linebackers to flock to the ball as well as they do? It seems like they pursue really well.
Yeah, they really do. They run to the football with a tremendous amount of effort. You know, I think some of it is what they're doing in the secondary and allowing to free those guys up a little bit. But, you know, when he pulls the trigger, he can really track things down. like I said, he's a really good open field tackler, does a nice job in the box, and then he's got that experience factor about him. Like, they use him in the blitz part of it. They use him in coverage at times, and so, you know, he's a well-rounded linebacker with a lot of experience, and you know, he's tough to defend.
Having open week just to get everybody's legs back under you feel like you guys as a team in a healthier spot than you were going into last week?
Yeah, I mean, I can say healthier, but that's in, you know, a kind of unique type of way. Yes, we're healthier than we were 3 days ago, right? But we're still continuing to battle some of those things, and guys are playing through some stuff. But I do think the bye week helped. We tried to be really, really smart about what we did in the bye week, how we use guys in the bye week, and then trying to not only help them from a fundamental and a technique and a schematic standpoint, but then also just physically helping them try to get as healthy as they could possibly get.
Thomas.
On that front, are you hopeful that you'll get Cam Selden back for this upcoming game?
Yeah, we hope so. I mean, hope I get all of them back, right? But hope we get him back, and all those guys are trending in a pretty good fashion. So we'll see how each day goes, and it'll be a day-by-day type of scenario. But he was trending. He practiced well yesterday, so we'll see how he carries that through.
Very good. Andy, then we'll go to Zoom.
Kovo was previously on injury reports. Didn't see him on last week's. What's his situation right now? You expect
Yeah, he's
to have
still
him?
day-to-day right now, and we'll keep monitoring his injury and see where he's at, and hopefully we'll get him back soon. But I think he's trending well, but, you know, at this point, not healthy enough to play as of last game.
Let's go to Zoom for a couple.
On Zoom, please use the raise hand feature to ask questions for Coach Montgomery, and we'll start with Steve, please.
Coach, you said there you might have had a second or two or a minute or two to breathe with the bye week there. Was there any time between either with you and the other coaches, or you were talking to the players' council or the players in general, that said over these last 5 weeks that there's something fundamentally different that you'd like to see out of the team, or they said they want to see out of themselves down this stretch?
You know, I've been really, really proud of how hard they play, how relentless they've played. We've got to be more consistent across the board in all three phases. But, you know, those guys they're giving us everything they got each and every day. And when they step out on that field, they take a lot of pride in what they're doing and how they're doing it. And so our leadership council has been great. Those guys have done a tremendous job. And we got to continue to lean on them. But I've been proud of that part of it, just the effort and the attitude and the focus that they've had with everything that has gone on.
And just a little bit over on that also, with these last several weeks, has there been, was there any kind of change in, you've said that the team's always been cohesive, but did they have a big adjustment in your mind that they had to make with the changes that were made and with the coaching change at the top?
I mean, they've had a ton of adjustments that they've had to make, you know. But they have done a good job of staying focused on what they can control and staying focused on keeping our team as connected as it has been. And, again, I think that goes back to, number one, the leadership within our locker room, and then the leadership on the coaching staff of guys just pouring into these guys and understanding, hey, we're all in this together, and we got to continue to keep battling and grinding and working and trying to improve each and every day.
Okay, thanks, Coach.
Any final questions on Zoom? Okay, Travis.
All right, last one here.
What do you think of Friday night games? I know that's kind of historically a high school football night like that, but I imagine it doesn't disrupt your schedule as much because you had the off week prior to this. But what do you think of playing these in kind of a showcase spot?
Yeah, I mean, you know, when you go back to when they first started playing them, I was like, I don't know, you know, it's kind of reserved for Friday night football, high school football. You know, nowadays there's football on every night of the week. I mean, even the NFL, I mean, how many games were on last night? 3? 2? I don't know. But Monday night was always just one game, and everybody watched the Monday night game when you were home to do that. And so, you know, I don't mind it anymore. I've played on Thursdays, I've played on Friday, I played on Saturday, I played on a Sunday. So, you know, it's part of it. You know, you still like the idea that high school football kind of dominates Friday night, but I will tell you, Friday night football for college has been really good, and I don't see it going anywhere. So, obviously, this week, because we had the bye in front of it, it helps us a little bit from the standpoint of not having the short week. Obviously, we had to change a little bit because we practiced yesterday, which is normally not a practice day for us, but it speeds everything up a little bit. But our guys are handling it well.
Thanks, Coach.
All right.
questions for Isaiah?
What was the open week like? Just getting a chance to get your legs back under you.
Yeah, it was good. It's always good to have an open week and kind of like get that rest that your body hasn't had in a while. And then it's also good to go back and focus on some of the little things that kind of get glossed over. Just focus on technique and getting better at those little things, minute details.
When you look at Cal on film, what stands out to you about this quarterback that you're going to face on Friday night?
Yeah, the quarterback, he got a live arm. He can really sling it and fit it in tight windows. So for us, we just got to make sure we're reading our keys right and staying disciplined in coverage.
Did you guys have Saturday off as players?
Yes, sir.
What do you do with a day off where you don't have to be doing football activities like you
Right.
normally are?
Just kind of get the much needed rest. Kind of had that whole little weekend block off, so some of us, went home to family, see family, and just kind of like get away and just reset your mind and get mentally prepared for this 2-game stretch before the next.
Did you head out of town? Or?
Yeah, I went back to Texas to see my mom, dad, and brothers.
Speaking of the Cal offense, they don't run the ball effectively. I think they only average 94 rushing yards a game. But so what do you need to do to make sure they don't get the run game going and really force them to be one-dimensional?
Right. We just gotta everybody do their job and be in the correct gap and just keep it contained so nothing breaks out. And then once we get them to pass downs, I feel confident that we can take care of that too.
Coach Monty was just in here and mentioned that the coaching staff is all in for this season. When you have a staff that doesn't know what its future holds, being all in on this team, how much does that help you as players to be able to play with effort every week?
Yeah, just seeing the work that they've been putting in, whether the results aren't what we want it to be, but just seeing what they put into it, it makes it easy for us to come to work and put in that same level of effort. Especially for a guy like me, this is my last season. I really appreciate the staff for everything they've been doing.
Where do you spend most of your week at practice? Is it at the safety spots? Is it at nickel? How do they have you practice?
Mostly nickel, but I'll get a couple reps at safety. But nickel and safety, we're all in the same room, so you kind of get a little dose of everything.
What kind of history do you have at that nickel spot? And do you like that? Does it suit your skills?
Yeah, I think in the past, I used to come play nickel on certain packages, like third down packages. But it was a challenge I was welcoming and asking Coach Stevekes for. So I think it fits my skill set pretty well.
What stood out to you about some of these really young guys, Sheldon Robinson, Noah Chambers, guys that are surrounding you? Seems like they're flying around making plays, even as freshmen.
Yeah, I seen it in when they came in the summer, just the way that they was working and putting in work. They didn't flinch at all when it came to practicing, and you could just kind of see all the telltale signs that they were going to get to play this season and be effective for us.
Let's go to Zoom for a couple.
On Zoom, we'll take any final questions for Isaiah Cash. Okay, Travis?
All right, other questions for Isaiah? Andy?
Why do you think nickel suits your skills so well?
No, because at nickel you find yourself in the box pretty often, and that's something I focused on throughout my career, just being an efficient tackler and getting my missed tackle numbers down. And then I'm also comfortable playing man, low zone coverages, and obviously safety in my past, I can go to the post or whatever it may be.
How tough is that? I mean, you get those small, shifty guys in the
Right.
slot a lot, keeping up with them.
Yeah, it's pretty challenging, but it's a challenge I welcome, and I get up and I'm ready for it. Something I prepare for. So it's nothing still football.
You said you asked Stevekes to do that. How does that whole process work? I mean, are you in the safety room like, hey, I could do this too? Take a look at me there.
Yeah, I think spring for me was challenging because I was moving around all 3 spots. So kind of just asked him if he'd be open to me just focusing on one and adding on as the season went on.
When you look at Cal's wide receiving core, Andy asked you about small, shifty guys, but one of their leading receivers is Jacob DeJesus, number 21,
Yep.
5'7", 170. What stands out about him, and especially how they use him in the offense?
Just how different ways they get him the ball, whether that's jet motion or getting them screen plays, and just how dynamic he can be with the football. So you got to take great angles and just focus on like tracking his hip and getting him down. You can also see how dynamic he is in the return game as well.
What's it like playing on a Friday night? I mean, gearing up for Friday. Does it take you back to high school football a little bit?
Definitely, especially in Texas. It's like a holiday every Friday.
Spotlight's on you guys. I mean,
Yep.
Friday night college football. What's that like as a player? I mean, I know Friday night games in college football it's been kind of a new thing recently, but it seems like all the players love playing under the lights.
Yeah, I think it's exciting. You know, I haven't played on a Friday in a while, and it's probably the last Friday I ever play on. So it's exciting for that, and just having all those eyes. But you still gotta go in, and you got a job to do.
That's good. Thanks, Isaac.
Sir, appreciate y'all.
All right, guys, questions for Kyle?
Kyle, what does the off week do for a group like the offensive line, where you guys have been fighting quite a bit of injuries this year?
Yeah, it's been nice getting some time off. Getting the bodies back right where we want them. Had some time to stretch, get the body right, and feel good going into this next week.
When you get to midseason, is any offensive lineman healthy, whether or not they're actually on the injury report or not?
Yeah, you're always gonna have those nicked up bruises and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, a lot of the guys who've been fighting injuries are getting back and where they want to be at and feel great to be able to go out and perform the way they want to, and even myself included, just get my body right to want to feel like I can go out and perform to the best of my ability.
Damon.
Do you feel like this offensive line combination is going to get close to where you were in the opener with as many bodies as you want to have available?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think our guys are pretty much overall all around feeling pretty good.
And what does that do after to especially get all the playing time with Gavin getting in there for 2 games? You're getting Aiden a lot of reps. What does that do? What did that stretch do? Just get those guys in there and then get guys back healthy.
Yeah, it's awesome having even though they're young, having guys that can come in and play. And I'm building chemistry with everyone in the room every day. So it's honestly nice. Having that comfort, knowing that, the next guy up will be ready to go.
Right.
Coach Montgomery just told us that he thinks that you guys are facing more pressure from defenses than anybody in the country. Did you guys work on anything in particular over the bye week to take some of that heat off the backfield?
Yeah, honestly, it's not even just a bye week. Like every week we're working on twists and, all the little games that a defense can bring. And, it's been fun as a group to learn as, the time goes. We don't want to, mess up those twists and looks that they give us. But, it's a learning curve, and I think that we're doing pretty well with that.
And what do you see from Cal's pressure packages up front? What do they bring that might be unique?
Yeah, they're not very exotic. They got some big guys up front, so we're just going to trust what Coach Moore and Coach Jens are teaching us and do it to the best of our ability.
Is a bye week a good opportunity for you and the rest of the guys in your room to kind of take a good look at film from the first 6-7 weeks? I mean, what is that process like? Just kind of reviewing stuff and tinkering.
Yeah, it's funny you said that. We did do that. A little recap of our first half of the season. And we got to look at some stats and whatnot that we usually don't get to see so much. So it's good to look at that, watch some film on us, things that we could fix up and do much better. That was good for us to do.
What is, in terms of your growth, where do you feel like you might be different now versus where you were week one? I mean, is it just as simple as, you've played a lot of snaps and you gained a lot of experience?
Yeah, I think being out there just more comfortable, keeping that communication, as best as we can throughout, the five guys up front, tight ends, even quarterbacks. So that's been good. And, yeah, the comfort's definitely coming, and I'm having a lot of fun out there.
When teams are showing pressure like that on you, how does that change your job? What are your responsibilities in that situation? Are you calling stuff out? Do you have to adjust on the fly? How does that work for a center?
Yeah. Sometimes different looks, they can give it away, and that's when the film comes in handy. Watching a bunch of film, seeing if you can get some keys on certain guys or certain looks that they give you. But yeah, what it comes down to is just technique and doing your job, and that's what us guys are working on right now.
Now that you have, 7 starts or whatever under your belt this year, where are you at in terms of processing that quicker compared to maybe this time last year?
Yeah. I think every week I'm just building confidence. Looking at defenses. A lot of teams, bring different stuff, but it's all kind of similar. And I'm having fun with it. Learning every week, just little things, and trying to get better every week, every day.
When you guys have run the ball, you've run the ball effectively. I think Marcellus and Terrion are both averaging better than 5 yards a carry. What's worked with being able to run the ball when you guys do run it and being able to run it successfully?
Yeah, I think the guys up front just, like I said, before, we just put our head down and work. And I think the running backs, are trying to build trust on us. And I think they've been doing a really good job of toting the rock and doing their thing. And we're just out there working our butts off.
It seems like there are teams that will try to take away the outside zone versus the inside zone, but it seems like whichever type of run is called, those guys have been finding ways to pick up yards. As an offensive line, how do you guys adjust during the games, and is it encouraging to see, even though their pressures are teams are coming with pressure, you're still able to have effective run game as well?
Yeah, that goes throughout the week, just preparing, trusting what Coach Moore and Coach Jens are teaching us every day. And, we just go out there and have fun and play as fast as we can, as strong as we can, and trust what Coach Moore's teaching us.
Friday night game, does it throw you back to high school football a little bit? Just getting to play on Friday night under the lights.
Yeah, it'll be fun. You always dream of playing under the lights, in front of a big crowd, so that'll definitely be fun.
Just how would you evaluate the season as a whole up to this point?
Yeah, it's been good. I feel like all the guys are coming together. We've been through some adversity, but I think that's good for us. It builds the team chemistry, and it's like I said, it's just fun. Going out with the same guys and fighting through adversity and playing games and just trying to do the best that we can each week.
You guys got anything else for Kyle? Thanks, Kyle. Thank you.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Thank you, guys.